Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are at. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, EDT. I just realized that that's what EDT was. I was wondering why people don't put EST all the time. I guess because we're silly in America and we have all these time changes. Well, it's 10 a.m. every morning here, East Coast time. And you know what? All these streams can be viewed at any time today, later on this afternoon, or in the future, because not only do we break down the charts, we break down the concepts and we break down the strategies, how to utilize effective strategies and how you can understand what's going on in these markets. So today's stream, we're going to be breaking down how we can really set up our portfolios to really dominate into the next bull market, regardless of if we get a pullback today or in this next week, or if we just skyrocket from here. How do we prepare ourselves for that? So with that being said, my name is Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. That's where you can find me, at Kelly Kellum. Make sure you're following the correct account. There's so many fake accounts on there. So again, shout out to everybody that's here in the stream. We had a lot of people showing up early today. Let's get these likes up really early. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. We got about 35, just a little bit under 40% of the people that are subscribers here have dinged the bell, meaning you get notified when we go live and or when we post videos. And we're going to be posting a lot more videos here soon. Of course, as most of you know, we've got BitLab Academy as well, which is you can find over at bitlabacademy.com, which is right here. And we've got that new site. We got the new site and all the new content. It is, we're literally on the absolute precipice of releasing this, which so much new content, from trading fundamentals and psychology of trading, trading strategies, candles, candle patterns. I mean, there's so much on-chain data analysis, fundamental analysis, qualitative analysis. There's so much that goes into everything that we've been doing to build out the brand new BitLab Academy with all this new content. So make sure you come over to bitlabacademy.com, get in the know, sign up for the newsletter right here. You get entered to win a free month of access to the courses and the indicators, as well as some great content that I put out. I have not put out a newsletter in about 2 weeks because I'm so focused with our team on getting all the new content released on, basically it's going to be here at bitlabacademy.com. So just so you know, if you're already a member, one, you're going to be able to keep the current lower prices, because as the updates roll out, the prices will be going up. So if you join before that, you're going to get access. You're going to have the ability to save, keep those lower prices. But nothing's going to change. It'll be the same website address. You'll just see this new website pop up, and the all new course structure, all new quizzes, all new content, video-based learning. So with that being said, I just want to say, how are you all doing? Have you interacted with that poll that I put in the chat? Are you more bullish right now on Bitcoin or altcoins? What are you doing with your portfolio? And furthermore, we're supposed to be a community here. So let me know, let everybody know where you're tuned in from. You don't need to put your exact address. I prefer that you didn't. Let me know what city or state or country you are tuned in from today. Let's see how wide reaching this channel is getting. Just in the short amount of time since we've launched this channel, we've already got up to about 5,660 viewers, which is phenomenal. Shout out to everybody that's been here from the start. I appreciate everybody that's just been a part of growing in this community. All the mods, especially Mr. Alex Green, who not only was he an incredible mod, he is on our team now. He's helping with some of the stuff, getting all the new stuff integrated on BitLab Academy, as well as running some of the mod stuff here on chat and getting you all the information that you need with all the links. A special shout out also to Alexandra G, who does a lot of great work here as well. And then the rest of the chat. I mean, so many great people I'm seeing on a daily basis. The Machinist, Mike Vollmer. Who else we got? Justin Eubanks. See him everywhere. I've been seeing him for years. Thank you for being in the community. Scott Rod 17, Brad Guidell, my guy, Karen Swigart Harris, Taz Goggs, Super Trucker Ryan, Super Trucker, VW. We got Learning. That's such a great name, because that's what we're doing here. Not only are we showing you how to break down the charts, we're giving you the strategy so that you can pick and choose and formulate something that works best for what you're trying to do in these markets. So today's stream is all about setting up, identifying how we can get those 100x gains. And it's not going to be every coin. You can't set up your portfolio to specifically only have 100x coins in it because that's, one, not good risk management, and two, it's finding those 100x coins. Means one, you're taking on more risk because they likely have smaller market cap, but two, it's very hard to identify something that is, at such a low stage in their development. It has so much upside to have a likelihood of that actually basically seeing its way through. So what we want to do is we want to not only identify what different passions we have about what assets we're interested in, we want to identify the data that's available to us that can help not only look at the technical analysis on the charts about what's possible based on previous price action, but see those new addresses, the adoption coming in, with transaction volume going up while price is going down. There's a lot of different things we can look at to help us identify great assets to position ourselves for just massive profits into the next cycle. And tomorrow's stream, we're going to follow this on with, we're going to have Mr. Bill Noble back on. So definitely tune in. He wasn't able to make it a couple weeks ago. Had something going on in his own life. I'll let him share that with you if he chooses. But we're very happy to have him back. And we're going to take this conversation further. So it's important to me, one, that if you're a part of this community or you're tuning in for the first time, that you come and check back regularly, because these streams that we do build on each other, and we really try to make an effort to really build on the concepts and the strategies. And so it's not just a one-off here and there, so that we can really get a broad awareness of the data available to us, the strategies that we can utilize, and the concepts that we need to understand so that we can navigate this market. Because even the most veteran trader in any asset class right now will tell you how frustrating markets can be sometimes, especially when we're in a situation like we are right now, where we're going against, we basically have a market that we're trying to trade using historical analysis, as analysts tend to do, use historical analysis to help give some sort of idea about what may happen into the future, forward looking into markets. But we're facing this, predicament within the markets that the global economic shutdown in March of 2020 has basically thrown a wrench into the historical analysis gears, that it's something that we've never really faced. And we're seeing the shift right now happen in real time of the world reserve currency being the US dollar, which has been over the last 100+ years. And we're seeing this shift, with China and Russia and some of the OPEC countries and Saudi and some of the countries, basically the BRIC nations, and seeing this shift out of the US dollar. So while historically we could look over here, let me see if I could pull this up. We could look over here at things like the DXY, the dollar index, and this could give us a good gauge for risk on, risk off, sort of framework or psychology of markets. This now may have some sort of skewed sort of perception as to what we do with the markets. Because if the dollar index, which is not directly this goes down, markets go up, there's a broader sort of consideration we have to take into our minds here now, that the US dollar, having been the world reserve currency, has been a very good metric over the last 50 years or so, to have a good idea about what's going on with this sort of risk on, risk off mentality, at least to some large degree in terms of the investment sort of analysis as to what you should be doing, strength of markets, etc. But because now the US dollar is now facing a lot of sort of pushback globally in terms of, will it continue to be the world reserve currency? Will it not? Well, we have to understand that the dollar index is not just a risk on, risk off metric. It's just a correlation that a lot of analysts have drawn. What it really is, it's a value of the dollar against a basket of other large world currencies like the British pound, the euro, the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan, things like this. So we have to take that into consideration, and we want to use, we're not going to do as much traditional asset sort of macro analysis today to give us our look into what we're going to do for how we're setting up our portfolios for 100x gains. What we're going to be looking at today is we're going to be looking at, one, how we organize our portfolio, and then two, how we select those coins that go in our portfolio. So one, we have healthy risk management, but two, we have that opportunity for risk exposure that is healthy, but can also give us the potential of very high upside without incurring too much risk. So how is everybody feeling? Let's see. I'm going to scroll through the chat real quick. We got 170 people watching right now. We only got 67 likes. Hit that like button. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're feeling, and get yourself involved in that goal. In that the poll that we have. We've got a lot of stuff to go over today. And as I said, we're not going to really dive too much into a lot of the other stuff that I try to set the framework, as we should always do when we're looking at trading on any given day, understanding the macro, understanding the grander sort of picture of what's happening in the global market, so we can then get a window into likely risk on, risk off behavior within our crypto assets. We've done that, every day that we've been on the stream. Today, we'll have a very slight look at that, but what we're really going to be focusing on is crypto, on Bitcoin, on altcoins. Is altcoin season here? Is it coming? Are there multiple? How do we gauge that? How do we organize our portfolio? And how do we navigate this market so we can do it in the most productive, efficient, and effective way to be profitable, and to be profitable consistently over the course of different parts of the cycle? So let's go ahead and dive in. So first thing I wanted to share here is just something I thought was interesting. This is somewhat obscure, but first things first, come over here to the BitLab Academy page, which is right here at Academy BitLab. Give this a follow, and make sure you come down to today's daily sort of post about today's stream. Retweet this, because at the end of each week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a random day picker from Monday through Friday. And then based on which day it picks, then we're going to do a random name picker from the retweets. So you've got to come in here and retweet these, and you're going to be entered to win, whether it be a lifetime membership to the indicators or a lifetime membership to the courses. Maybe it's a 3-month, maybe it's a private webinar. There's going to be great giveaways that we're doing based on you all coming here and retweeting these, because it helps our community grow. And the more the knowledge, the community of people seeking knowledge and growth and learning in crypto, the stronger the crypto market could be. So you're helping the community at large by coming and retweeting this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share this just because I thought it was quite funny, but this is Robin Williams back in December 2000. It says 2008, but it's December 2009. Let me see if I can charts. Okay, here we go. Now, this is exactly what the banks are doing, and this is why Bitcoin, blockchain, and crypto is the answer. Let's go ahead and listen.
A group of junkies who relapsed going, listen, man, I just need some liquidity. You know what I'm saying? I just ran into some bad subprime, We just had complex formulas. We just didn't factor in greed and panic, I just need $805 billion by Tuesday. Yeah, no, seriously. No, I would not screw you again. It's pretty crazy.
I've learned my lesson.
No, baby, this is not like the other time. No, seriously, I just throw me a bed here, baby.
Just give me,
help me out.
Just give me a little bit.
Yeah, just a taste. That's all I need is a taste. I need $2.5 trillion. I'll pay you back.
Get me through 1 week.
Yeah, it's like they're going to print out a new $20 bill. The new Geithner $20 bill will be, instead of "In God We Trust," it'll just say "Trust me." And it'll be the little man from Monopoly going like,
Is that not exactly the nature of what the banking system is right now? And somehow the government is still, of course, they're trying to push, this mindset of safety in banks, but we're seeing it unfold in front of our eyes. And that's why it's so important that all of you here are a part of this community, but are also learning and sharpening your sword so that you can enter this market, especially as we're going into the early stages of the setup for very strong the next stage of the very strong bull run. We want to have our swords really sharpened. We want to have our knowledge, our strategies down. So with that being said, what we really want to do is we want to identify. Let's see if I can pull this up just like that. Here we go. We want to identify this zone right here, where this is 2018 into the 2019 sort of 3,000, 3,500 up to $14,000 push. Okay. Smart money bought down here. Retail emotional buyers bought up here, and then they sold on the way down. So where we're at right now, this, I did this a few months ago, this chart, and we're trying to, really identify not only on Bitcoin. This is the thing. We want to use Bitcoin as well as the other altcoin assets and see how this liquidity goes back and forth between them and get ourselves in position at the right time in the right assets and select how much of our portfolio is going to be long-term, whether it be long-term from a bottom to a top or long-term 10-year, whatever your time horizon is, whatever your strategy is. But we want to allocate our time and our investments in the spots that make us the most money. So that's what this stream is all about. Now, looking where we're at today, we're up to about $1.23 trillion market cap for the crypto ecosystem. Let's go ahead and actually reload this, refresh this. So 1.222 trillion. We see just in the top 100, we got Caspa up 94% in the last 7 days, XRP up 26%, Flare, MetaMask, Stellar, all these 1-inch, Conflux, all having large pushes. Do we get into these because they're pushing higher? This is the worst strategy that most retail traders face. They see something moving, they feel FOMO, and so they want to jump in to catch it. Well, if it's moved 94%, I'm not saying it might not move that much again, but if it's had this large push, then you need to identify what your strategy is ahead of time. So if there is a pullback and it looks like there's other fundamental data that's showing that there's going to be further growth, then potentially you can find an entry, not in the middle of a large bullish push. You don't buy right here, or a lot of people buying at these peaks because they're seeing the move, or buy, the fact that this had this is a price line chart instead of candles. The fact the price went all the way up here, the fact that this chart was able to go up here is because somebody sold here and took profits, where somebody bought here, and the large majority of people that bought here weren't buying shorts. The large majority of the people, these are hype buyers with no conviction. These are weak hands, and this is not what you're going to be. What you are going to do is trade with strategy. You're going to trade with a healthy understanding of what's going on in the market. So I want you to realize this may be a Bitcoin chart, but what we're really focused on is this market cycle structure that plays out in every asset, whether you're talking about oil, Amazon, Shopify, Bitcoin, Cardano. Any asset out there is going to have a regularity of these market cycles on the macro, on the midterm, and on the micro, meaning large time frame, medium time frame, and very small time frame. So you may be in a downtrend while you could be in a midterm bullish trend, while you could also here at the top have a smaller bull market and bear market within the course of over the course of an hour. So we have to understand that this market cycle plays out on every time frame, on every asset, and we need to identify these things and notice now that as we are moving where we're at currently in the current cycle, and a lot of the metrics that we're looking at, it looks like based on the 4-year cycle theory, and as well as a lot of the on-chain metrics, as well as a lot of the technical data, that we're very likely entering the stage that whether we go sideways into the next halving or have this push up to 38 to 50K, which I think is a bit bold. We may not get that high, although that is where the golden pocket is. How do we position ourselves? Well, let's go ahead and look at some things here on the chart. Let's go first. Before we do that, I want to look at this poll that we have. Let's go ahead and close out this poll. In poll, it shows right now that the majority of people are 53% are more bullish on altcoins, 46% are more bullish on Bitcoin. So how do we really identify where to put assets and when? Well, one, we need to identify what our time horizon is. Are we swing trading something on a 4-hour chart, or are we swing trading something on a weekly chart? Meaning, the difference of that would be if we come over here, for instance, to Algo. Let's come to Algo around here. If we're looking here on the weekly chart, the swing could be from here to here. Now, if we look at this on a time base, look from here. So I'm going from the bottom here and measuring over. This would be 112 days. That'd be a 112-day swing trade on the weekly chart. Now, if we look at the swing trade on a 4-hour chart, and we're trying to take this swing from here to here, let's see how much time that is. Well, from the bottom here to the top, that's 2 days and 4 hours. So as you can see, it is, I'm sorry. Very sorry. I got it on the charts. Let me go, got it on the charts. Charts back up. My apologies there. So we could see here on the 4-hour chart, we could see that from the bottom here, we this is a 2 days and 4 hours. If we're 2 days, 8 hours, looking at a swing trade on the 4-hour chart. Now coming back, I'll show you again on the weekly since I made a little blunder there. Did not have my chart up. You should be able to see now on the weekly chart. If you're taking a swing trade on this move here, this would be 105 to 112 days. So you need to identify what time horizon you're working with. And I will absolutely tell every single one of you on here that the more often you trade, the more risk exposure you're taking on. Therefore, I would like to encourage and suggest, if you are very new to trading, there's no need for you to come up here on any asset and come to a 24-minute chart or a 15-minute chart and try to trade on such a small time frame. Because if you don't have a strategy in place, if you don't have your emotions in check, if you don't have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure, which we've talked about here on this channel regularly, and we talk about at length within the BitLab Academy courses, having a strategy, having your leading indicators, having your supporting indicators, having your further confluence indicators, and then having your strategy ahead of when you take the trade. If you don't have all the, and then of course, risk management. If you don't have all those things in place, then smaller time frames are going to eat your capital alive. And all you're going to be doing is donating money to smarter traders, to people that have a better strategy in place. So I want to really encourage you that when you are entering these markets, especially if you're trying to get into trading, if you're newer to these markets, start on a broader time frame. Start on a weekly. Start on a 3-day, and try to dominate these, because it gives you a lot more freedom from the emotional challenges you get when you look at the 1-minute chart or the 10-minute chart. It gives you a bit more freedom to not need to be sitting at a trading desk all day long every day. So what we're talking about right now, of course, the thumbnail for this stream and for this lesson, if you will, is all about, trying to figure out how we can find those 100x gains. And more importantly, I want to balance that with saying we cannot only chase 100x gains. If you chase only 100x gains, you are going to have 100% losses. Because if you chase, AKA if you're followed, if your strategy is fueled by greed, if you're fueled by always needing more, then you are going to always end up having less. Your strategy within these markets needs to be balanced with understanding that, again, you have to have a strategy in place. You have to balance it with the good, healthy risk profile in your charts. In your portfolios, and also with being able to be patient and identify when things are setting up. So coming back into the charts here, let's back out of this. Now we're going to look at the Bitcoin dominance, and we've been talking about this a lot. And I want to reemphasize how important it is to look at this chart when you're navigating the markets and trying to identify what you want to do. Now, it's one thing just to buy a basket of currencies and have a 5-year time horizon and let it sit. But let's be honest, most people out here don't have the patience to do that. As much as that is maybe a smarter play for the majority of us, because we're too emotional when we trade. We're too triggered by fear or hope or greed. We're not fueling our strategy with data and an action plan. We need to understand that this is showing capital flow in the crypto ecosystem. Now, again, the reason I brought this up, and again, this is why it doesn't matter if you're watching it live right now, March 30th at 10:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or if you're watching this in 3 months. When I'm looking at this, the CoinGecko coin market cap list, or the coin market cap listings showing what the performance and stuff is, what I'm trying to really illustrate here is that when we're seeing this, you don't look at this and go, it's 7-day. You don't see that Caspa is pumping or any coin is up 100%. This must be a great coin. I'm going to get into it. Maybe it is, but this is showing, these massive gains are showing that you've missed the opportunity to capitalize on those gains. Now, this isn't an absolute strategy, but a smarter strategy would to be, we're looking at here, the top 100, to see where the losses are Okay, see where the losses are in a market and what coins, and then identify what coins that you believe in. And you can see that there's these may be, if you're not specifically first looking at your technical analysis charts, these may be this may be indicating that maybe there's an opportunity presenting itself. This is just one instance of a huge falter a lot of early investors take as they go and they look for gains. This must be a good coin. They buy it and then it drops and they go, this always happens to me. You know why it always happens to you? Because you've always had a bad strategy. So let's change those strategies. That's what we're here for. BitLab Academy Daily Stream. Me, everybody here in the community, we're here to grow together. We're here to share the experiences that have lost us money. You know, for me, I've talked about it on the stream, on this, on BitBoy, on CryptoJet. I've talked about it on a lot of different platforms. You know, I got up to a little under $100,000 spot trading. Then I got greedy. Then I got complacent. Number one thing you need in trading to have profits, humility. I lost my humility. I thought I was such a great trader, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to leverage trade this. I'm going to be a millionaire in like a week. You know what I was? I was broke in a week because I was an idiot. I didn't follow my strategy. I didn't follow my plan. I didn't stick to something that works. I was fueled by greed. And so what did I get? Loss. And I want everybody to take note of that and remember that leverage trading isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is for experienced traders that understand that leverage trading and derivatives trading is meant to be used as a risk management tool, surprisingly. If you have $10,000, rather than exposing your $10,000, your entire portfolio to trading, you can trade $1,000 of that and use, 3, 4, 5 small leverage to give yourself broader market exposure without risking your entire portfolio. That's the true purpose, the healthier use of leverage trading. So I just wanted to put that out there before we jump in and start identifying different, opportunities and projects and coins. And I want to say this before we dive into these charts. No coin that I pull up on my chart or demonstration portfolios. This is not me giving my 100% badge of approval. You need to go buy this. I'm not telling you to buy anything. The only thing I present here on these streams is my experience in the strategies I would utilize and some potential opportunities that may be presenting themselves on the charts. Every purchase, every buy or sell that you do should be really informed by the due diligence that you do and the knowledge that you have, and identify. And maybe you take some picks from some of the assets that I may highlight. But you need to do your own diligence and see if it fits within your risk tolerance, within your timeline, within your strategy. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So again, how is everybody doing today? I feel like we get going. I just get to talking and I don't get to check in with chat. And I want to check in with chat more often. I want to make sure I read every super chat that comes through. So again, mods, if there is any super chats that come through, definitely hit me on the Discord. I will make sure to answer any question that pops up on here, super chats, and I'll try to read. The mods are trying to pull good, really good questions or questions that should be highlighted as well, so we can really highlight some of those things towards the end of the stream for sure. Matt Lane, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Man, we got Granny's Garden. We got so many great people in here. I love our community. Jake Mueller, what's up? Happy to have you in here. Crimson Caravan. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's go ahead and jump into what we're looking at. All right. Well, as we were talking about, we've got to pay attention to the Bitcoin dominance chart. In order to get to this chart, remember, all of you pros out there, people that have been on multiple streams or some of these things that you understand, stick with me through this because we've got to throw the rope back to the beginners. And maybe there's also something that you thought you knew that maybe you'll learn a new lens on it. So stick through all this because we're going to be breaking down some of the tools that we utilize to identify great opportunities to buy Bitcoin and great opportunities to buy altcoins, and some altcoins that may be presenting opportunities to setting up into this next bull run. So we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, and that's here on TradingView. You can come, or any charting software you use, come up here, type BTC.D. This gives us And this gives us the liquidity flow, real liquidity flow in the crypto ecosystem. If this dominance is going up, this is saying that liquidity in the crypto ecosystem is going into Bitcoin more so than altcoins. If this is breaking down, this doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's not moving. Excuse me. What this means is that now liquidity is shifting out of Bitcoin, and the speed at which liquidity is flowing into the crypto ecosystem starts to be outpaced. Bitcoin starts to be outpaced by the entire grouping of all the other altcoins. So this means that maybe there's a slowdown in the Bitcoin price increase as opposed to how fast the altcoins are moving. Or maybe there's some profit. Maybe there's been such an explosion in Bitcoin price that now people are taking some of the profits out of Bitcoin and moving them into altcoins. So what this means is this gives us an opportunity, especially with the range that we can see that we've been trading in here. This doesn't mean this is always going to have to hold, but this is presenting an opportunity. Maybe as we're getting up to these levels, previous highs, maybe we're setting up for altcoins to start having massive runs. And we can also see this. If we look over here, we can look at the total market cap. And we've talked about this on the stream a lot, but we've got to see these things with regularity so they get burned into our brain. Total 3, come up here, top left, type in total 3. This is the entire, basically altcoin market cap minus Ethereum, because Ethereum is an altcoin, but it's such a large altcoin. It holds such a large dominance over, it's so much larger than any other altcoin. If we really want to get a good look at the altcoin market, we can look at the total 3 here, and we can see not only is Bitcoin coming up to this sort of resistance level right here, we can also see that the total 3 is coming up. It's fighting against this. Let's go to the 3-day. It's fighting against this very large downtrend resistance. And if we remember, if we come over here to Bitcoin, let's look at how that played out for Bitcoin. So we had this large down. Let's go ahead and mute all of our indicators. We can see if we look at this large downtrend resistance, once we broke out of this, yeah, we had some pullbacks, large push-up, pullback. But once we broke out of this, this really was an indication of a shift in trend for the crypto markets as a whole, but Bitcoin most specifically. So if we take a note from this and we see here on the total 3, we've got a very similar setup. Now we can even option T. We can come in here, see if there's so we've got this falling wedge. We're pressing up into this zone right here up against this. And now we're on the 3-day. Let's come down to the 8-hour. Let's see we're fighting with this. Now we are forming a little bit, I won't even call this a down, continued downtrend, but we're knocking up against this. We're waiting to see when this is going to break through. And this is just giving us an indication of the strength and the position that the altcoin market is sitting in right now, with basically knocking its head against the ceiling, waiting to break through. Okay. Now, when we're talking about this, there's a couple different strategies here. And this is where most traders get eaten alive. Most traders see this, and it's not necessarily the wrong move to then, in all the altcoins you're interested in, just go and throw in your capital. But it's not the smartest move, because if you're trying to front run this and you throw in your capital because you think all the altcoins are about to explode, and you don't have a strategy, and so you start pouring money into, doesn't matter what altcoin it is. It could be Algo, XRP, Cardano, whatever it is. Name any altcoin. And because then you get a 10% pullback, then you get out. Then you get that emotional fear. You get that emotional, I bought it the wrong time. It's actually coming back down. This is going to get rejected. And then you're getting shaken out. We don't want to be shaken out. We want to have a plan and buy with conviction. So we're seeing the setup, and not only are we seeing the setup, we're seeing this push up against this downtrend resistance, while we're also forming a bit of an inverse head and shoulders, which, as we know, is a very bullish sort of reversal pattern out of a bear trend. So what we do is we've got, if we really want to get more official here, we can see our neckline right here. We can do Option T or Alt T if you're on PC. Go from the neckline to the depth of however deep this head goes. And we can go here. And this does not mean that the second this breaks here, the altcoin market is going to see, let's see. Let's do a measuring tool. This does not mean that the entire altcoin market, the entire altcoin market is going to see a 43% as a whole pump, which would mean multi-100% pumps for individual assets. This is suggesting, more specifically, especially when we're looking at an index like this, that there is a bullish setup here that supports the notion that there is a likely breakout coming here. And so then we can take it level by level. This is the important factor most people miss out on. We want to have a breakout, a little bit of a pullback, a retest of this line, another breakout beyond that level, a little bit of consolidation, maybe some consolidation here, and then a continuation to the upside. We can't expect just absolute moon math. So let's go ahead and look at some of these altcoins and talk about it. But before we do that, I do want to just highlight, I have two different portfolios I'm going to show you that neither one is necessarily wrong. Everybody's strategy is different, but we can see two different structures within these portfolios that outline different sort of consideration about risk exposure. So before we look at these coin picks, or not coin picks, before we look at these different altcoins and the strategies to pick different altcoins, not only in TA, but also fundamental analysis, we want to make sure that when we're setting up our portfolios, we see this pie chart right here. There's two different setups here. Now we see in this one, this is the most heavily weighted in Bitcoin. And then the next one we can even see here. Next one is Ethereum. And again, none of these this is not an example for the portfolio you should build. Look at the structure here. This is a safer structure for a portfolio, as it's heavily weighted and the strongest market cap. And then the next strongest market cap, which is Ethereum, is the next largest portfolio allocation. And then we have a basket of other currencies here. And the further down market cap you go, typically the smaller allocation of to your portfolio those coins hold in your portfolio. But you can see we have store of value, then we have the largest layer one smart contract asset, and then we have another layer one smart contract asset, which is an alternative, and we have a smaller allocation there. Similarly, another layer one smart contract asset, but this is, also an ISO 222. So slight differences in their application, slight differences and why they're being used, slight differences, and just, sorry, my screen got messed up there. We're having a variety of things here that giving us broad exposure in case some regulation crushes one of these, or there's a massive hack, or there's a massive flaw found in the portfolio. So you're getting broad exposure across very important layer one solutions that offer different types of solutions, and their focuses are slightly different. But then we move down the list, and now we have interoperability coin like Atom, Cosmos. And then we have something we're talking about infrastructure, where you have infrastructure plays as the blockchain and crypto portfolios. Sorry, the blockchain and crypto ecosystem really develops, and so we have something like Filecoin, or you could have Arweave or Crust or something like that. And then we come down to the graph. Okay, this is a much smaller allocation, and then we have something like a metaverse play like Sand or Mana, or anything, and then you can also have other protocols like Gala or anything like that. We can also see another version of this portfolio here, and this one is a little bit unbalanced because, as we can see here, this is dominating by Cardano. That's fine. Maybe you hate Ethereum. Maybe you want to have other your top allocation be something like Cardano or XRP or whatever fits your sort of profile. But then we see here the next one up is GRT. This is a slightly misbalanced portfolio because And it doesn't mean somebody just bought this at 15% of their portfolio. What happens along the way as you're building your portfolio early in a bull market is you might have bought GRT, for instance. Here's a great example. You might have bought, let's see where GRT is. If I think I had it here. Let's do GRT. Actually, we're going to come over here on the right. Where is GRT? I don't know. Okay, whatever. We'll just do GRT, USDT, Binance. Okay, you might have bought GRT or whoever this portfolio is. Let's do 3-day auto. They might have bought GRT down here at 5 cents and seen a, 161% gain on their GRT holdings, which then what happens is in your portfolio, then you start getting these ballooned smaller asset tokens as they move much more quickly. They start taking up a larger percentage of your portfolio. Now, this isn't the worst thing in the world, but they may be still very far down on the coin market cap rankings. They may, if you're seeing, 100 or hundreds of a percent gain in a particular coin, a good strategy along the way as your portfolio, as the market is moving along and you're seeing a lot of bullish strength in a market, is you want to start basically harvesting profits from a coin like this and start reallocating to some of the other longer term plays, some of the other, maybe reallocating this into multiple smaller term plays. But the point is to keep your portfolio balanced along the way and harvesting profits as certain coins see astronomical gains, while not necessarily selling out entirely of that asset, but taking profits that you can reallocate to other parts of your portfolio, and also potentially maybe even some fiat profit so you can pay off your car or pay off your house or, take that trip to Greece that you want, whatever it is, but taking profits along the way. So I just wanted to allocate some time here before we start looking at specific, setups and altcoins and some fundamental analysis as well as technical analysis on these various coins. We always have to keep in mind, what is our portfolio? What's the composition of our portfolio? Are we strategically keeping in mind as things are making astronomical gains that we're still hedging ourselves and protecting ourselves with risk management through reallocating and taking profits and reallocating along the way? So maybe for instance, GRT, in this specific portfolio, maybe harvesting some of the profits from this, and this portfolio has no Bitcoin, so harvesting some profits from this and allocating to Bitcoin, longer term hold. And as other things pop, maybe HBAR pops, and then harvest some profits from that into your longer term plays. And this way you're not having to always use the capital you're earning on your day job or, other capital flow you have in your life. You can use your portfolio to do the work to build into your long-term, basically holding profile. Now, how's everybody feeling? Have you hit that like button? Have you hit that subscribe button? Have you ding that bell? Be a part of our community here. We've got a wonderful community growing, from all over the world. I don't know if Alex, can you scroll back through the chat that we had going, that we have here? See who the person is the furthest away, who's tuned in from the furthest away. Let's see who that is. Now let's go ahead and look at these assets. We're talking about some strong portfolios to have incredible gains in the bull market. That's what we want to talk about. So let's dive into that. What are we doing here? So we've looked at the setup right now where Bitcoin has had this massive run as opposed to outpacing the altcoin market. Is capital about to flow into the altcoins? Well, one of the things we want to look at is let's kind of come out of this. Let's go into Bitcoin. This is from yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Let's go to auto. Let's zoom in. We're seeing this is also not only Bitcoin dominance at that sort of level, that the range high of the Bitcoin dominance. We're also seeing that we're butting our head against this window here. Bitcoin very may well break through this to the upside. But what we want to do is we want to look at the altcoin markets. And not only the altcoin markets, we want to come over here. We actually can stay on this window. over here on the right, you see how we have this. You could have your lists. You can create a new list, and you can come over here and you can create BTC pairs. This is what we really want to be looking at right now. So we're just going to scroll through a bunch of different pairs here, and then we're going to kind of try and see if there's setups that are presenting themselves, because we see Bitcoin dominance is in a place that is indicating to me, by looking at Bitcoin dominance, that there's likely setups for altcoins. That what are we trying to do? We're not trying to see, and I have to point this out, as we're seeing the flight from the US dollar globally right now with oil and with the Russia, all these things we talked about earlier, US reserve currency may be losing its footing, and we're trying to really make money here. So we need to stop weighing the asset growth potential against, are we going to get, 100x gains in US dollars? Yes, we want that. But we want to more specifically make sure that the assets that we are investing into are going to be the best performing assets, which means we need to look at all these pairs against Bitcoin. So we've talked about this before in the channel, but we're going to show you how to do this here. So we're seeing that the dominance is showing that there's likely setups for pairs. So we're just going to scroll through these for a second. We got Ethereum. We see this has been in a downtrend. We also have, option T. We also have a bit of a descending wedge here, bullish structure. Okay, now we got ADA. This is all in the Bitcoin pairing. We're looking also on the 3-day chart. We're getting our macro set up. We're going to do a bunch of coins here and then see which ones are really setting up for a potential pop. So the descending wedge, we got Algo. Algo was in this falling channel. Now this is a little more concerning for Algo on Bitcoin, because this could be leg down, but this also could just be, we can also, as the market dynamics have changed, what we can do here, option T, come here, identify that this is also in a bit of a falling wedge. We can adjust this. This one looks like it's not as pronounced as the other coins, so maybe there's less of an opportunity. We're going to go through all these. Now coming here, we got XRP. This obviously looks like it already had a bit of a breakout. Could there be a cool off? It had a falling channel, but we also have, we'll go through these a lot more. Solana. Okay, option T on Max. By the way, this is how I'm being able to do the trend line very quickly rather than coming over here to the toolbar. So option T, and we're gonna be doing more on these. We're just kind of getting a lay of the land before we go into deeper analysis. Okay, so we've got this is a very ugly trend line, but that was the first very ugly trend line. But we can do multiples on this one. This is also a bit of a broadening wedge. Okay, again, we're just getting the lay of the land here. Option T. We're wanting to see how things are going to perform against Bitcoin. Why? Because if Bitcoin is about to do this, and we're looking for assets that are in a bullish structure against Bitcoin, then we are going to have incredible profits in our portfolio if we manage our risk and have healthy strategy through all this. For anyone that uses PC, yes, Alex Green, thank you for clarifying all these quick keys that I do anytime I call. For instance, I'll do a quick rundown for anybody that's new here. These are the quick keys that you can use for very quick analysis. Option H for a horizontal bar. Option V for a vertical line. Option J, all these for PC are Alt or Option J for a horizontal ray. Option F for a Fibonacci up to down for a retracement, or Option F down to up. You can, for the two different ways you can use your fibs. And then Option T gives you the trend line. So these are very easy ways. You can also press Shift and click on your chart to get an immediate measurement tool. So those are some quick keys that we just a reminder for everybody. And if you haven't yet, if you're new here, come over to the BitLab Academy page. Also, if you're over at Hit Network, come check us out sometime. Come follow us over here, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Come to playlists. Come to view full playlist for daily alpha. Come to the Pro Trading View guide. I go through how to set up all the templates, on your page, so you can have these going back and forth between different chart setups, different indicator setups, and all the quick keys. So go ahead and check that out. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got 229 people watching, 232, and only 140 likes. Let YouTube know you're into crypto. Helps the community grow. So now we're going to continue on here. We're seeing GRT is broken out of its downtrend that we've had here. But we also maybe we'll get a retest and a further explosion. Again, we're going through a bunch of coins here. We're just seeing a general structure so that then we can get ourselves in position for what are the opportunities we want to take. So now, why would I do a trend line like this with this down right here? Because what I'm trying to do is get the most touch points on a trend line. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is so this is a bit of a range, but it's an ugly range because of these breakouts, as we've seen here, these fake outs. Now, similarly, we also have a bit of a structure, like basically a descending channel that was also broken out of, but we're at this support here. This is on Cosmos to Bitcoin. Now, looking here, we'll definitely get to Optimism, Cardano, Gala, Matic for sure. We're going through the setups here. This is kind of doing the broad, quick analysis that you should be doing with, if you're looking at what to get into, where the best opportunities are. We're looking today specifically, mostly, we'll look at some US dollar pairings too, but we're looking at the pairing against Bitcoin because we're trying to outpace the huge amount of gains that are going to be coming in the next bull as the bull market really engages. So we're seeing AVAX is at support, likely bounce from here, maybe setting up for potential gains out of here. And what do? We take the measurement on the widest point of this descending wedge, and this would put us, golly, this would be a massive gain against Bitcoin, mind you. This would be a 260% gain against Bitcoin if AVAX were to break out of this descending wedge and move bullishly, the liquidity pouring into it in the next altcoin season. Now, BNB. Okay, option T. This is gonna. You see how different this chart looks than all the other altcoin charts that we looked at. Well, that's because of the FUD that's going on right now about CZ and Binance, their connections with China, the potential 300 wallets that were trading against the users. This is all part. There very well could be some truth in all this, but look at the timing of when that news came out. It's also in line with when these banks are failing. So there's a lot of hit pieces in crypto right now. So Binance Coin is not necessarily looking as good of a setup as compared to most of the other. Now, Matic, somewhat similar setup here. And this is also because Matic had such a strong an early run as compared to most other altcoins in the market over the last, over the last 3 months. So Matic is looking a bit like that. We are coming down to support. Now, this is also, I'm also seeing a bit of we could see this is also a bit of an inverse head and shoulders right here. This potentially may have nullified it right here because this is broken to a new low, but I think this is still in play. Matic, I have a lot of bullish sentiment towards because of all of their partnerships with Disney and Nike. I mean, look at how many partnerships. Matic partners. Look at how many partners. This is January of 2023. Look at these partners that Matic has. DraftKings, Stripe, Reddit, Adidas, Starbucks, Adobe, Meta, Disney, NFL. So when I look at a chart, for instance, like we were just looking at, and having, even a hint of it not maybe performing as fast against Bitcoin as some of the other setups we're seeing, this is also a very strong, longer term, larger play because of how much backing and community engagement this has due to the partnerships. So now looking at Litecoin. Now Litecoin has a lot of lovers and a lot of haters. So this has got a bit of a descending trend line that also maybe has broken out and come back and found support on. So option T, we've got now the descending. This is kind of faked out in both directions. This would be probably a little more because this is touch. This has a lot more touches. So Litecoin potentially setting up for Link. Let's look at Link. So what we're doing here is right now we're not trying to identify the actual trade setup. What we're doing is we're going through the market and getting an idea of where the different assets are that are available within the crypto ecosystem, and how are they set up compared to Bitcoin. Because again, we've got to go back. We've got to look at some of these things. Come over here if you haven't yet. Follow me right here at Kelly Kellum. I post a lot of stuff here, and we can see, where is this chart right here? Look at this. Look at this from Plan C. If you haven't followed him yet, follow at The Real Plan C. We're seeing the setup of when long-term holder market value to realized value chart, also against the long-term holder spent output profit ratio and the liveliness. He's combined three metrics here to identify when bear markets have bottomed and we're likely going into a bull market. And we've seen this has played out excellently in previous cycles, all the previous cycles. And we have not only hit that, but we have moved up and away similarly to previous cycles. So when we're looking at setting up these 100x gains and trying to find those, the 1 to 2, 3% allocation in our portfolio, these very small altcoins, or even some established altcoins, we're doing this because we're seeing that the bellwether, this sort of the risk on metric for when assets are going to really start flowing into the crypto market is when the bear market sort of finds its resolution in Bitcoin. Then there's accumulation, as we can see here. There's accumulation in price. There's accumulation in price. There's accumulation in price. That then there's risk on and belief and liquidity that starts getting prepared to come in to the market. And again, we see this as it's coming into the market. This is showing the establishment of trust back in the ecosystem. Okay. And the selling out of the weak hands of the riskier assets. And this is setting up. And this is why we're going through these altcoins and seeing how they're set up against Bitcoin so that we can identify the best opportunities that not only are going to outperform the US dollar, but they're also going to outperform Bitcoin. This doesn't mean we don't also invest in Bitcoin, but Bitcoin should be a stable sort of anchor within your portfolio. And we can move into Bitcoin when things are risk off, and we can move out of Bitcoin when risk come back into the markets, into these coins that are setting up to move faster than Bitcoin will. So now let's go through a few more, and then we'll do some other tools to see now that we're seeing these setups, we can see some other data that may be giving indication of a move to come in these assets. Now this is, and I'll do this because we have all this resistance, support, fake out. Stellar Lumens looking like it's attempting, it's coming into the apex of this descending wedge, but also attempting a potential move from here. Option T, come here. Now we can see be a 40% move just on this simple TA measurement of this descending wedge. 40% move, not just in Stellar Lumen's price, but in its value against Bitcoin. You see how we're doing this? We're looking at all these a variety of different assets. We're trying to see where the setups are, and then we can kind of see where there is maybe some fundamental growth or adoption or transactions or new addresses, or things that are setting up. So we've done a lot of different coins. Let's do one more. Let's do HBAR. We're seeing that there's a general setup across the board general setup across, I'm going to kind of do it from here. The general setup across the board for altcoins. This is ugly chart. Maybe this actually kind of looks more like it because we have so many candles resisting, and then we have rejection, and then breakthrough, come down, test. So H bar is looking quite set up. So what do we do? How do we identify which ones to pick? Well, we have to first ask ourselves, what we can do it purely on technicals, absolutely. But what I want to also challenge you to do, and I got to stretch my back. Everybody, quick stretch break. Oh, sitting at the desk all day, looking at these charts. Got to do the back loosen up. Okay, all right. Now, everybody, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that, ding that bell for health and success. I'm happy and I'm grateful for all of you being here, and I'm grateful that we're all alive. I'm grateful that we're all part of this this crypto so early in this ecosystem. I'm just so excited you're all here. But what we want to talk about right now is we can do this based purely on technicals, but one of the things that helps keep you interested in an asset over time and wanting to look at the chart and wanting to or having the ability and the attention span to really do what you need to do is, one, identifying where the likely use cases and utility is going to be going into the development of this crypto ecosystem, but two, also things that you're interested in, whether it's gaming or storage, decentralized cloud storage, or if you're interested in gaming, you can be looking at things like Render, which is decentralized gaming and metaverse, by the way, a decentralized render processing power. There's so many different plays here. So what we can do here is we can come over and utilize websites like, let's see if I can find it here. That's not what I want to look at. Here we go. Come back over here. We can utilize things like DeFi Llama, okay? Free website. And this will help us look at, for instance, if we just went through a bunch of different coins and protocols, we can come over to DeFi Llama or Glassnode or CryptoQuant or Dune, Dune.com. There's a variety of different tools you can utilize, but I want to challenge you to not only use technical analysis, because while that will help you find the triggers for stuff, you can also see not only the technicals, but come over here to DeFi Llama, come to DeFi, come to chains, and we can see, of course, Ethereum here is the big dog on the block for TVL, total value locked, how large their ecosystem is. But then also we can see all these other coins on here, the most dominant coins within the DeFi space, okay? But what we can also do is we can come down and say you're interested. We were talking about Matic earlier, or let's look at Matic first. We can see on Matic, TVL, which is total value locked, has gone down over time, and this also is in line with the large bear market that we had. So that's not the worst thing in the world. But we can also scroll down. What am I trying to do? All right, here we go. I want to look at volumes. Here we go. Chains. Come over to chains. We can see other things. So Polygon. So we can look at the volume here. Look at this. We have the very sustained volume throughout the entire bear market. It actually increased quite a bit during the bear market. And then over here, we've kind of had an oscillation up and down, but we're seeing a sustained sort of build in the transaction volume. Now, you can actually also come over here to weekly, look at it more pronounced, but you can then look at other things, overview here. We can look at other data within on-chain metrics, as well as this protocol, this chain sort of research tool like DeFi Llama. If we come back over here to where we were looking at this, so chains, we can see Arbitrum has had a 28% increase in volume on chain. Okay. This would make me want to, come in here and look at what's going on here. Look at this. We're seeing a large increase. So we can then come over here and look at, you know, of course, Arbitrum just launched. So this makes sense why there's a huge spike. So this may not be a great example, but Trader Joe, 181% weekly change in the volume on chain. We've also got, you can also see the TVL, the percentage. There's a lot of different data you can look at. You can come over here and utilize something like Glassnode, where you come up here and you can change the different assets. For instance, let's look at, okay, Aave as an example. New addresses. Okay, we can come to new addresses. We're seeing this sharp decline in new addresses, which is somewhat understandable during a bear market. But what we're seeing is we see a sharp increase right here, sharp increase in new addresses during this FTX collapse right here in November 2022. And we see a little bit of a reduction. This doesn't mean that there's no more. This doesn't mean there's a reduction in total addresses. This means there's all of a sudden a lot of interest of new addresses coming in. But here we're starting to see this round out and starting to uptick. Now we can see total addresses, and I'm sure we can see, look at this, still an increase in addresses during this bear market. So I want you to explore these various tools so you can see against not only the technical tools that you're utilizing, but also the fundamental development and transactions and volume, new addresses, sending, receiving. You can utilize this to also bolster your analysis of an asset before you just jump in because you see a chart showing bullish. Now, what are we doing here? Now, I see that you all, there was a lot of people asking about Optimism, ADA, Gala, Matic, and XYO. Okay, so we will utilize these as our test cases here for looking for the best opportunities going into this next bull run. Bye-bye, baby. I love you. She's got to go out and walk the doggies. So let's go ahead and start with ADA. So ADA. So we see a large descending wedge. Now, what I want to do here, actually, I'm going to actually come over here. I'm going to come over here to, no, I'll just do it here. So we're going to look at this Cardano right here, but we can also look at my list. So Cardano against Bitcoin is looking like it's down here. We can actually come here, turn on our indicators. Now we can double click on the chart. We could see that we have the blue wave down here on the significant movement, suggesting that this was undervalued in its value proposition against Bitcoin. We could see the relative extreme was sticking out. We could see that, meaning that this move to the downside was likely going to find support soon and bounce. And then we got that support signal right here with the blue wave. And then we have the three, might be more, yeah, three bullish divergences, but this is a 3-day. So let's come down to the 4-hour. Now we can go to auto, and we could see that this did bounce, and we're seeing that we had a bullish hidden volume set up right here, leading to the snap to the upside that was also tied. You see this blue wave down here on the significant movement. So we had a bullish hidden volume, as well as the relative extrema sticking out, as well as the likely floor, which is what this blue wave signifies. But in addition to that, we can't forget our traditional technical analysis. We can also see leading signal here would have been that we were in a falling wedge. So we're in a falling wedge, met towards the end of coming towards the apex of this falling wedge, and we get some bullish sort of volume, bullish interest coming in as price is falling, and we see a likely trend cycle low with this right here. So as soon as price action got towards the end of this zone and it broke out, this was a clear opportunity. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, meaning we had our leading signal, which is our bullish pattern. We had the relative extrema as it's falling, supporting that this move down was likely going to break out was likely going to set up. Maybe we can look for other bullish sort of indicators. Then we get the bullish volume indicator here on the BitLab hidden volume, as you can see right here, this flag right here. And then we get this, finally, we get the blue wave as we're nearing the end of this falling wedge, which is a bullish structure. And as the price breaks out, we had our 1, 2, 3, 4 setup before that. We could have foreseen this and taken advantage of it. Now, where we're at right now, we can see on Cardano, we can see that this is falling, and this is almost what it's doing is somewhat repeating. Crypto tends to repeat patterns over and over. So we're seeing a bit of a bull flag here, or a bull pennant. We can go like this, measure this, go like this. What we did was we measured the flagpole, which is basically this flag right here, and we can see what our projected upside would be from there, which is, this is again the Cardano to Bitcoin pairing, which is another likely 9% gain to in its value proposition to Bitcoin. Now, this target here we can see is also perfectly in line with previous price action lows. Now, another sort of thing we can do, option F, from the top here to the bottom, we can see that this also would be in line with where the golden pocket is. So you're seeing how all these things can line up and give us an idea about what would happen. So now this is just on the Cardano Bitcoin pairing. Now let's look how that looks to just a traditional Cardano USD pairing. So now as we're looking right now, very different but similar setup. The only worrisome point here is that this is starting to look on the USD pairing. One, we have, let's do, that's not what I wanted to do, but let's go here. I accidentally hit a template button. So what we're doing here is we got a bit of a range that Bitcoin has been traveling through here. Or sorry, Cardano has been traveling through here. But what I'm seeing a little bit here, and this is as Bitcoin has reached that sort of plateau level at $28-ish thousand. We're seeing a little bit of a rounding top. So this could mean that on the Cardano US dollar pairing, that maybe this cools off in this range for a little bit. Maybe this has a fake out to the downside and then back up to the top side of this range of this channel that we're having. So this is how we're looking at this. And the reason why I'm looking at this is a likely cool off here, or maybe a slight pullback, is that we are getting this right here, which is a red wave is starting to form on the 4 hour, which is suggesting, what is this suggesting? Let's look at this. Let's go to the, this is suggesting, because that red wave on the significant movement is an aggregation of the stochastics, of the RSI, of the MACD, of all these various momentum and strength indicators. We're looking at them all in one when we're utilizing the significant movement. Now we can see that the MACD is rolling over. This is showing that it was overheated. This is contracting. The RSI is, was reaching that overheated zone, or the above the 70 level. The stochastics were in that overheated zone. Now looking at this zone right here, again, if we look at this we see how this red forms, because it's an aggregation of all those different data points. This is why it might look like we have a lot on the screen with the BitLab trading stack, but in reality, we're having 3 or 4 different indicators in one here. We're having about 5 indicators in one here with the relative extrema. We're having 2 or 3, I think it's 3 combined in the hidden volume. And then there's 10 more combined in the market intelligence. So there's so much it's integrated, even though it looks like there's a lot on the screen. You're utilizing the ability to harness this, a lot of the majority of the type of information that major hedge funds trade on, that major like smart money utilizes a lot of aggregation of data points so that they can have the most effective calls. And that's what we want to do when we're utilizing any indicator series, is we want to have confluence between multiple indicators. And the benefit of using the BitLab trading stack is each one of these indicators is showing you a confluence between multiple indicators in and of itself. So having confluence between these and those is just, so now let's, does BitLab have a Discord, Jeanette? Yes, absolutely. Alex Green will drop it in there. We've got a free section in there, as well as a much more in-depth area for people that are the BitLab members. And by the way, again, bitlabacademy.com. We are about to be rolling over to this new website with all the new courses. And there's going to be more courses that are coming. I mean, we're going to not stop filming this for the next 2 years. There's going to be more courses coming, basically perpetually ongoing for the next year or two. So let's get back. So we got Cardano. Let's do Optimism. OP. Are you down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. All right, now OP. We didn't look at this on the Bitcoin side yet, so this is the Bitcoin pairing. OP is very interesting to me because of the partnership that it just had with Coinbase for their base blockchain, I believe it's called. They're going to be basically the protocol that is built on. Now, first thing I'm seeing here, we're in a falling wedge. Now, not only are we in a falling wedge, but we can also see the formation of an inverted head and shoulders right here, which means that not only are we down here near support down here at the bottom of this area, we also are near support with a bullish reversal formation, which is the inverse head and shoulders. And we talk about all this in BitLab Academy, candles, candle patterns, reversal candle chart formations, the strategies to trade them. So I'm telling you guys, get involved with BitLab Academy before the prices go up. Even when the prices go up, it's going to be super affordable. But I want you guys to have the best rates. So we can see here the pattern site. This is a great reference for all of you. Come over here. If you're not sure about something, come to chart patterns. You can come down here. You can see some of the most regularly identified ones. There's a lot on here. You're not going to, there's no need to learn every single one of them, but there's some very key ones you need to learn. But head and shoulders. So let's see, head and shoulders, bottoms. So this is what we're looking at right now. We're looking at the head and shoulders bottoms. Come on, website. You can do it. I believe in you. We can go back to the chart. Okay, so what we're looking at here is you see this left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This is essentially showing that you have the bears trying to bring it down. The bulls said, I don't think so. The bulls fight it back up, but they can't get past this previous high. And then once they get to this level, it gets rejected. And the bears have a very strong push, and the bulls regain authority. They bring it back up to the same high. Now the bears try again, and they have less stamina. They have less strength, and the bulls bring it back up. So this is a typical and regularly occurring, it's not going to be 100%, but a likely reversal pattern of this downtrend. So we have multiple trend lines we can do here. We've got this right here. Let's go ahead and double click on this. We can make this a smaller line just because it's a smaller time frame move. But you can see even on this line right here, this is having trouble. This is on the 4 hour. There was a wick that went above this up to this neckline. But if this were to break out, this is the Optimism to Bitcoin chart pairing. So if this were to break out from here, we would measure from this neckline, which is these highs, to the lowest point of the head. And you take that from the breakout point, and this measurement would be a 10% move against Bitcoin. But this also would be in line with coming up to this price action resistance. And this is major, over a pretty long time frame. This is 300. This is 300. This is 34 days on this time frame. So 34 day time frame. This is a bullish structure. This is a bullish structure. The only caveat with that, and this is why you always need to zoom out also, we can see a pattern right here that is a little concerning. Where's my wave? Which is, we have the basically bottom. We have a push up, down, push up, down, push up, down. Now we have this M pattern top. Now we have the push down, relief, push down. Are we going to get a relief and breakout? Or are we going to get a rejection and have a little bit more consolidation before we break out? Well, that's what we want to identify here. If the market starts moving very bullishly, and Bitcoin starts exploding, Optimism might have a bit more work to do before it outperforms Bitcoin. But what we can do is we can also come to Optimism USD, USDT. Let's do that. Binance. We could see this structure. Let's go on the 12 hour auto. Now we can see this is general growth pattern here. We've got a large trend to the upside, but this also is forming a bit of a rising wedge, which is potentially bearish. And this may be because of how fast the growth was from all the new wallet addresses, an explosion in sort of interest in optimism, which we can also see over here. We come over here back to DeFi Llama, come to chains. Okay, now we can go to Optimism and look at this. Let's see what this looks like. So over the last, I mean, look at this large explosion in growth. We can also see there's a lot of different projects. By the way, this is another useful tool on DeFi Llama. When you go and look at a specific chain, like for instance, Optimism, you can then come down and look at the different chains that are also integrated with Optimism as well. But we can see, what am I looking for? I want to see DeFi chains. No, I want to see volume actually. Here we go. Chains. Now, Optimism right here. So this has had a 39% drop in volume in the last week. Well, that's because there was such a large pop off and interest from the news initially with what happened with their announcement of the partnership. And this is why you see large increase, but now we're having a large drop off. This may be presenting an opportunity this may be presenting an opportunity in the future, because this was the initial hype phase and then the drop off phase. So looking at that in the chart, we're seeing this initial volume hype phase, but is this going to have a larger sell-off because of people taking profits? We don't know yet. So in the case of buying right now, long-term, I think Optimism is a prospect for that. But in terms of where we're at this moment, I think there needs to be a little bit more settling of that acquisition news and potential. I mean, it's looking like we're having a symmetrical triangle here. It could be a bull pennant, but this is so large, it outweighs, the length of this outweighs how big this flagpole is right here. So this really could go either way. Now, looking at this on the let's look at okay, so here's how we get more information. Now, looking at we're seeing some bullish divergences here. We're also seeing the relative extrema, and I love this indicator, showing very far out to the downside, showing essentially that there's more bullish pressure here than the sell pressure that's trying to make this happen. So if Optimism were to lose this level, you know, if we zoom out on this chart, there's a bit of a volume, not really if we really zoom out. There's a lot of volume all the way here. I'm saying that this one could go either way. So let's go back to the Optimism BTC chart. Let's look at how okay, now looking at it as it compares to Bitcoin, this looks like it's something that essentially over time may perform very strong against Bitcoin. We have a blue wave here on the daily. We've got the bullish divergence coming down to the 4 hour. We are neutral, but the relative extrema is sticking out here. Very much sticking out here, but we do have bearish divergence on the hidden volume. So this one is something that the way you trade this is you wait for this to show either weakness and come back and test this level, reevaluate the signals, the indicators here, or let the bulls take back, basically have another attempt back to this neckline, and you can trade this, using all your risk management tools. Here we go. Long position. Using your risk management tools at this level, above I would actually do that quite tight. And then, then you can set up your trade that way. And this is looking at specifically Optimism to Bitcoin. What time is it? Okay, now we're going to do Gala to Bitcoin, Gala BTC. Now, okay. Now, so let's turn off the indicators and look at, actually, I already drew this one out. So let's go to BTC pairs. Let's go to, actually, I don't think I did draw it out. So minimize this. Let's go to the daily auto. All right. So option T gives us our trend line. The question is, have you hit the like button yet? Have you hit that subscribe? Join our community, get involved. We got so much great content here. Such a great community. Ding that bell. We have 254 likes, 254 concurrent. 200. That's a pretty good ratio. I'm actually proud of all you. Thank you everybody in the community here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for just tuning in. The more people learn, the more people know, the stronger this market becomes, because less people lose money in this market. if you're making money, your friends are going to ask you, your family's going to ask you. And that's what this is about, is helping share our experiences so you can not make those stupid mistakes like I made, losing $70,000 in 3 trades. And so, thank God that was years ago. But we're trying to provide the framework and strategy opportunities for you to make something that works for you. Now, the most important line here is this line right here. We're going to make this bold. And what we can see here is that Gala has, Command Shift. By the way, I don't know what the key is for PC. For Mac, if you press Command and zoom in and out, it stays right where you're at on the chart. So it's not doing all this nonsense. It might be Alt on PC. But what we're seeing here, downtrend, long downtrend. Now this is let's go to measurement. This is essentially 411-day downtrend before this broke out to the upside. Now this broke out, this again is Gala against Bitcoin. Again, Gala is a gaming, not only protocol, but they also have an entire ecosystem that they're building that is helping you're not just buying a token for a specific game. You're buying, this asset is more related to an ecosystem that they're building with a ton of different games, as well as film production, music. So there's so much stuff that goes on with Gala. I definitely picked up some in the huge market drawdown, but we're seeing here, this has found a bit of a bottom. It reversed, basically came up here, found resistance at this previous levels. And again, this is Gala to Bitcoin. So we're seeing if this is a good opportunity to get for the next bull run. Let's look at it also. Remember, let's see Gala. Come to Gala. You see, this is number 135. No, it's not. It's got to be higher than that. It's got to be higher than that on the CoinMarketCap rankings. Where is Gala on here? Is it 135? That would be surprising to me because it grew so much. That would be pretty cool though, because if that's the case, this is one of those slightly riskier assets. Yeah, 135 on CoinGecko on CoinMarketCap rankings, meaning it has a ton of room to grow. And when you look at their ecosystem and you see all the things they're building, and then you come over to the chart and you see that this is now breaking out against Bitcoin in terms of, how it's going to perform in relationship to Bitcoin. If we get to previous all-time high on Gala against Bitcoin, that is a 900% gain. That's a 9x. So the same amount of holding in Gala that you would have held in Bitcoin, say you have $100 in Gala and you hold $100 in Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin 3x's, then you're going to have $300 worth of your Bitcoin holdings, whereas you're going to have $900 worth of asset in Gala that you can then take profit off of and put into Bitcoin. You see how this works? You can utilize the growth of different assets if you're utilizing charts other than just a US dollar pairing, but seeing how they're going to perform against Bitcoin. And in this case, we not only broke out, but now we can see that we also have a falling wedge here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to mute the VPVR. We have a falling wedge here. Now, what we can do from this, we can see option T from this falling wedge. This will be a more conservative look. That'll be the next move to the upside. But then we can also take, there's two things we can do. Option F for our full Fibonacci. Golden pocket would be all the way up here at 913 Satoshis, I believe that is 0.0000913, but that's not important. What we're looking at is percentages here. Percentages are important. Even when you're looking at US dollar pairings, you want to look at your percentage gains. Compound those 2, 5, 8%. You don't need to chase 40% gains every time. And what we want to do is identify, as we've been doing, these assets that are in position to outperform Bitcoin. This broke out. Now it's retesting this major downtrend resistance. It's coming to the apex. Now, what do the indicators say? Now let's double click out of this. Look at this. It's coming to the apex and we're getting a blue symbol right here on the significant movement. As we can see right here, this is the aggregation of the momentum indicators showing that we're hitting a likely trim floor. Stochastic bullish divergence. We had, look at this, bullish divergence right here on the hidden volume. And this is looking like we are going to confirm we are going to confirm this previous resistance as support and likely break out, outperform Bitcoin. This is what we want to do when we are building our portfolio. Remember, when we're looking at how we're organizing our portfolios, we want to, as we're setting up these smaller assets, these smaller market cap assets, and you're allocating them in your portfolio, just because you think it's going to perform insanely well doesn't mean it will. You need to allocate smaller percentages to smaller market cap coins. And you can identify that by scrolling down the list of seeing where stuff is on the coinmarketcap.com or on CoinGecko, and allocate your risk accordingly within your portfolio. And as, you know, for instance, GRT, if this has, you know, some sudden explosion, which is essentially what happened in these two portfolios, and then you get all of a sudden this huge allocation in your portfolio, you can reallocate and then add those to Bitcoin or to stablecoin. And then as Bitcoin is in a position to where it's looking like it's had a pullback, and you can reallocate, redeploy your capital into assets as they're ready to have bullish moves, or if you're into stable coins, if you're ready to be on the sidelines, so you have dry powder available to you so you can dominate this market. But everybody, before I go, how are you feeling about, we've got a huge, just so you know, we've got a huge options expiry tomorrow. May have a little bit of a false push up in the markets today because of that options expiry. We'll see. But how are you feeling about, you know, we're coming up on the close of the month. I didn't even mention that. I should point this out really quick. I have it shared right here. We had, this is a quarterly, look at this. This is Bitcoin, US dollar on the quarterly. This is a, you know, basically pullback, rejection, push up, coming back, retesting support. This is a quarterly chart. If this was a 5-minute chart, you would be buying this. So the fact that there's a lot of economic uncertainty, well, you know what? The charts are still showing that there's a likely attempt for the bulls to go higher. Protect yourself, have good risk management, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, join our community, ding that bell, and I will see you in tomorrow. We got a great guest tomorrow, so make sure you ding that bell so you can come and join us. Drop your bullish or bearish predictions for the end of next quarter in the comments down below this video or in the side here. Again, and if you're watching anywhere else, because this show is clipped in multiple places, come over here. Make sure you're following us at BitLab Academy, BitLabAcademy.com, but also YouTube.com/at BitLab Academy. And we will see you in the next stream. Everybody, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful day. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for subscribing. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. I think I have to stop singing because my throat is broke again. Thank you, everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe, ding that bell. I'll see you in the next episode.